Krishna. So the reason we meditated on letting go is in the chapter that we're in, Moksha Sanyas Yoga, right? Chapter 18. 18 suggests, seriously, you can, please don't just do what you have to do, drink, get up, anything, no rules. You will, you don't have to be shy, you don't have to hide, you just like absolutely be the best you is the way you are. And so therefore, please, anytime we tamper with it, we're reducing it, minimizing it. So swim like you know to swim. So, so chapter 18, this is the end of Gita, right? And so we're going to have to let go after this. On top of that, the name itself is Moksha and Sanyas. Moksha is release, after Sanyas is letting go. So it's quite telling, just the name itself. When I let go, I'm released from it. So long as I'm holding on to it, as I always say, this is not holding on to me, I am holding on to it. It's just the simple truth, simple logic, right? Am I holding it or is it holding me? I am holding it. If I want to get rid of it, all I need to do is, come on, this is embarrassing. That I let it go and I'm released from it, from the bond, है ना? Because the bond जो कहते बांध के रखा है इतना ऐसा ये है वो, like I'm stuck, I'm bound. If I can let go inside, internally, then there is the release. So sannyas में moksha है. The नाम में ही संकेत है. The name of the chapter itself is Moksha Sanyas, and that's what we had started a couple of sessions ago, and we were just hitting the highlights before we get into like the shlok by shlok. And so I want to bring it to your attention that if you pay attention, if you ever pay attention to, I'm a big fan of words, and also I will not get on the tirade for that. But if you pay attention to words, I think that it's so loaded, the meaning is in the words themselves. So Moksha Sanyas Yoga is the name of the chapter, which moksha is letting go, or moksha is release, and sannyas is letting go. And yoga is uniting, reconnecting. And so letting go of the wrong connection or with wrong identification, if I have misidentified myself with this notion that I am the body, this is my misidentification, which is limiting me, because it's okay. He knows how to wear. He knows how to wear his ear aids. It does not need your good vibes. No, I'm saying to all of you. I'm saying it to all of you. We're talking about the Gita here, right? I'm driving a point. It's all right. Everyone does not need to suddenly focus the attention, because we're talking about attention right now. I got, hey Ashe.
Hi, sorry.
How are you? No, that's okay. All good. So my earnest wish, my prayer is that if we believe that the Gita is difficult to understand, I'd wager that is not so. If we are careful, if we pay attention to the words themselves, I think it talks to us. It will reveal the meaning itself. The meaning is loaded in the word themselves, and with that kind of immersion, I think we come out drenched, soaking wet out of it, like out of what it is filled with. And hence, with that context, I think we did the dhyan today. Plus, I think it's appropriate because the year is ending and the new year is starting. Soon, Uttarayan will begin. Uttarayan is when the sun turns northward, northbound. January 14th, right? Makar Sankranti. Like it's a journey towards the south. Obviously, it's not the sun's journey, it's the earth's journey, the other way around. But the direction of the sun starts to go higher up in the horizon, higher up. So when you say Uttar, that's in Sanskrit, Ud is high, and Tar is highest. It starts to go high and high in the horizon, and you'll see the insolation changes of the sun and a lot of that, the energy, the sunshine, all of it starts to. And so it's suggestive that this is a good time for us to consider a U-turn also, or at least a turn, or at least a change in direction. As I was saying during the meditation, that like it or not, know it or not, accept it or not, change is inevitable. But if I accept it, I might might even I have a shot at knowing it, and if I know it, it's possible that I might even like it. I might think that change is actually right, change is actually good, change is improving me, evolving me, making me better. It's that when we don't know it, that we're afraid of it, right? Fear is fear of the unknown, and therefore we reject it, and therefore we don't like it, and all of that. So this is the first step towards the U-turn or the turn that I want to go. That U-turn is going inward. Up until now, from the time you were born, continuously projected outside. The nose is pointing outside and taking stuff from the outside. The ears are pointing outside, bringing stuff in from the outside, and the eyes are looking, projecting out, bringing in all five senses, all sensors, all data that's coming from the outside. And we're struggling to find the peace, or still haven't found what I'm searching for. Heck, I don't even know what I'm searching for, let alone like have I found or when will I find. I don't even know what I'm looking for, is the condition. And therefore, an experiment perhaps, maybe let me try changing the direction. Because I've been going here for 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, and I see nothing. Maybe it's possible that I'm going in the wrong direction. Why don't I consider change? And so instead of going outbound with all my might, with all my sensors, everything, let me try turning inward. And therefore we sit down quietly, we close our eyes, and automatically you may have experienced a little bit with the omkar, or with sort of the consistency of the vibration. We're drawn inward. We start thinking, start going deeper. And it's possible that what we may be looking for is elsewhere, is within. As I sometimes say, the only way out is in. Why? Because the key is inside. So I'll let you think about it. And so we are in the 18th chapter. We'd covered through the first 6. Remember this, the triage, treatment, therapy part of it, and a few other metaphors that we'd gone through. 6 and 6. We talked about how they can also be related to Gyan Yoga or Dhyan, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all of those. It's a natural division between these 18 chapters. With that, then we also started hitting some of the highlights. Last time we'd gone over like Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whose duties are what, and then that he says that we talked about I am the one who created. Right? God says upfront that I'm the one who created the caste system. This is not bad. This is not wrong. This is nothing to be ashamed of. He throws himself. I am the one who created this. Have organized society based on the qualities and their propensities. What do they like and what are they good at? Never by birth, right? And then we've gone over it, but since there are some new folks here, and it's important, so that based on what is it that you're good at, what's your strength, and what is it that you like. Like if your parents want you to become a doctor, I don't want to become a doctor. I don't like blood, or I can't even cut a Ziploc bag. How can I cut human body or whatever? Or an engineer. No, I want to become a geologist, for example, like Mohini became. So if you can figure out a way to play to your strengths, if you know what you're strong, and if you get a shot at doing for your lifetime what you actually like to do, then life can be fun. Because you got those natural settings in you. You're good at this. People say, oh man, you're so good at it, right? And you say, yeah, I really enjoy it. I really like it. And so based on those two, the combination guna karma vibhagasha, right? Krishna has said in it, Chatur varnam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. Guna are the inherent qualities embedded in that particular man, woman, person. And then karma is the deed. What do they like to do also? And so with that backdrop, earlier on in the Gita, not in this chapter, what we did cover last time, which is in this chapter, is that, so how do they behave? Brahman, Kshatriya, what are the kinds of tasks, chores, and what do they like? So Shamodama, Tapas, Shaucham, Kshantim, Arjavam, Evacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma Karma Subhavajam was the verse that was related to Brahman, those who are the thinkers, those who are the contemplators, those who really like to sit and really decode the complex, really get to the bottom of it, and we come out with some really new, phenomenal insights. For that, they need the quiet space. So shama is quieting. They're simple people. They don't need as much color, as much flavor, as much variety, or as much, period. They don't need as much, whatever else, right? So that's shama. And the dhamma, that's an internal discipline, is shama. That intrinsically not really desiring a whole lot of anything is the shama. And dhamma is the external restraint. That no, my remote is far away. I'm just not going to buy junk food. Right? Therefore, there is no chance for me to eat because I don't even have it. So any such measures that are taken from the outside are dham, and those that are from the inside are sham. So shamo, dhamma. Tapa is hard work. Like the think tank people might work 14, 15, 16 hours just doing that work. So that tap is hard work. Tap literally means heating up. Heat, like becoming hot, like friction. And the idea behind that is when you rub and keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and it just heats up. And so the fundamental idea is that like working hard. So shamo, dhamma, tapa, shaucham, clean. Those who like their environment clean, manasa, vacha, karmana. So their mind is clean, pure-minded. Thoughts are clean. Simple is clean, usually, uncomplicated. And the speech is clean also. You will typically not hear, there is a category of people who would not use, the only four-letter word they might use is love. But not as many some of the other variations of four-letter words, because the speech is purified also. So you get the point. And then so manasa, vacha is vani, and then karma. What they do, how they do is just simple and good and pure and just like, so that's shamo, dhamma, tapa, shaucham, kshantim. Kshanti is internal peace. They are by themselves peaceful. It's kshanti. They're also forgiving. Kshama plus shanti is kshanti. So they're just by nature forgiving. It's all right. That's okay. That's no big deal. No worries, right? No concerns. Because their mind is not that wedded to this particular outcome, that I have to have this, or this has to happen. Why did you do it this way? Why not that way? That's not where their head is. That's not where their mind is. It's somewhere else, like whatever they're thinking, whatever they want to achieve. And so it's very easy for them to forgive, to be forgiving, because naturally they're forgiving because they're not stuck. They're unstuck. Each of us, every one of us, not just here, everywhere, is stuck. That's the biggest problem. And what we're trying to do is be unstuck. Another word for free. Right? I want to be free or liberated. I don't want to be stuck. I want to be free, free-spirited. And so the closer you get toward that, the more you're able to let go. The more unstuck one is, the more free one is. We're also able to give freedom to others. I can only give you what I have, right? If I don't have money, I can't give you. Right now, if I don't have knowledge, I cannot give you. If I don't have what you're looking for, I cannot give you. I would have to be free first for me to give freedom to others. And so the sign when someone is stuck, like if they're not able to give freedom to their kids or to their parents or to the husband and the wife or their neighbors or their whatever, co-workers, because they're stuck themselves. And everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants to have it their way. Because we're designed that way. We are freedom. And absolutely. We will not be bound. Absolutely. We will not be. And therefore constantly seeking that freedom. And yet for others we want to pull them, push them. And so the whole the concoction is entirely stuck. But there is a set of people through these practices and through lifetimes of hard work and desires who have come to a stage in this human life. Earlier today, like an hour ago, we had another Gita Yoga in Hindi, and I was sharing a concept with them. That will come here also. That in around us, and you may have heard it. I think you were on that reflection. Animals, aquatics, birds, plants, they're naturally designed to adjust according to their conditions, right? If it's a bear, it might have a thick fur. If it's a fish, may have a smooth body that able to, and so the birds may be lighter. Those who want to go higher might have a wider wingspan. And you see, it's just a phenomenal design, is it not, in nature? That you have to marvel at, like, how is it designed? Like, it's exactly whatever the conditions are, this is adaptable. Whichever animal you look at, the teeth of the dog or the lion or the tiger would be different from those of the cow, because the cow only eats grass and all it needs is flat for rumination, and the other one has to bite into the meat, and so they have the molars and all of that. So everywhere, or the eyesight, how far. So the entire animal kingdom is designed precisely to adapt to its conditions, and there is only one exception that is not designed at all to adapt to its circumstances. And who is that? Humans. Go figure, man. You're stuck. If it's hot, you're going to sweat, maybe even die. If it is cold, you're still going to die. Freeze. There's nothing you can do to adapt. You cannot suddenly come up with some fangs or some feathers or something and protect yourself from the cold. Or if you're really hot, you cannot shed anything. Right? On top of that, you also wear clothes, all of that. So this is gross injustice. This is a screwed up design. Like, how come I'm the highest design in creation when there's nothing I can do to adapt to my circumstance, and everything else, everyone else can. But there's a difference. This human has been given endowed with one quality, one power, empowered, that no other creation has. It can change its environment to adapt to how it is. Well, this is so cold outside, and look how comfortably warm we're sitting inside. When it is so hot, we change the same environment, sit in the cold. And we have layers, and we have this and that. No matter what, you don't like to eat solid, you have the blenders. This, that, no matter what the circumstance or the conditions, we can change those to adapt us. Other than us, everyone else is stuck with this environment, and therefore they've been gifted with. And so this means that we can change the environment, the conditions. We do. In all our lifetime, we're focused on changing the external environment, the outside environment. A bigger house, prettier clothes, blacker hair, taller gait or whatever, right? And cooler, this, that. And yet we're not finding the peace or the quieter that because we're masters at changing environment. And so the whole point of changing direction is, what if I could change my inner environment? Because the grief that I feel, the misery that I feel, the anxiety that I feel, the FOMO that I feel, or the excitement that I feel, or the salivation that I feel at the sight of a bone, it's all inside. I don't want to jump up and down like a dog when someone throws me a bone of more thumbs up or contacts or whatever, right? And I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to have this fear of missing out or whatever. I'm not missing out anything if I'm me. How do I get that? All of that is happening inside. And so if I can change the environment outside, heck, I might even be able to change the environment inside. And yes, I am. That's the whole thing. That's the whole point. Animals and plants and birds can change neither the outside nor the inside of them. They don't even know what's inside and outside, right? And so maybe don't. But for 10 million years, they haven't evolved, right? In a sense, the body may have evolved. They may have dropped the tail and the tailbone or whatever, but they still poop the way they do and eat the way they do and suffer the way they do and bark the way they do and all of that. But we have arguably evolved. But if we can evolve the inside, where it matters, that's where it matters. Even all the outside changes actually matters inside. Because if it feels good inside. Right? Where does it feel good? If it really sucks, where does it suck? Inside, not outside. And therefore, the clever one is that, the intelligent one is that, who figures this, and then goes within and changes. And those are the Brahmanas, because they can think, they can go deep. So these qualities that I was reciting, Shamodama, Tapas, Shaucham, Shantim, Arjav, is humility. Like, the realization that there is something in someone and that are bigger and more than me, and so being humble is our job. Jnanam vijnanam astikyam. And the scientific mind, Gyan is science, and Vigyan is technology. These are words from our scriptures, written more than 5,000 years ago. Science and technology. Gyan, Vigyan, the thesis is that science alone is useless. But science comes before technology, even today. Researchers by themselves cannot change the world. It is the engineers who would then take the research and the science and convert it into technology through their engineering, which is then through the application of that is what brings about the change. So it is with the spiritual science, they said. You have to know, which is science, you have to know, you have to do research, you have to know what happens, how it happens, and then you have to do something with it, with the tools and techniques, which is the Vigyan. So these are the words from the 18th chapter. Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam is faith, an open mind. A mind that says maybe, that I want to go further and see, check out for myself. That's astha, right? Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavajam. Those for whom this is natural, I have categorized them as Brahmins, and they do the certain types, their lifestyle is in a certain way. And then he goes on to describe the Kshatriya, the Teja, Shauryam, Yuddhecha, Palayam. They never quit. They are brave, they are courageous, they'll fight till the end, they're protectors, they're guardians. Brahmins may not be, but the Kshatriyas are. Brahmins may be the thinkers, but Kshatriyas don't. They will always say, no, I want to do something, I want to do something, I want to grow. This is in the Gita, in this chapter. They have the growth mindset. That I want to increase my kingdom, I want to increase my business, I want to increase my network, whatever. Growth, which is essential for evolution also. But then again, but are you growing inside? Are you evolving from within? Or are you only growing the external with no regards to the internal? So then you might feel futile in the end also. Then it describes the Vaishya in this chapter, which is the trading people, Krishi Go Raksha, like cow herding and farming and all of that, who the sustainers of the society. So there is a class who like to feed people, who like to work hard to sustain, to provide sustenance. And then there is the Shudra also, who are very crafty, very skilled. So the Shudras are not looked down upon. They're called the essential component of the society. Even the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, which everybody needs, those are the skilled workers and the laborers and the craftsmen also, like the HVAC technicians and the carpenters and the blacksmiths and the goldsmiths and all of those. And he says, like, based on this is how a society and a community properly organized can really function in a harmonious way, harmonizing it. So this is a method for harmonizing. The one thing that attracts me to the Gita, I'll say this here, and then we'll touch the last portion of this chapter, and then I'll invite reactions from you also. That it's a harmonizer and a disruptor in one. This scripture, typically you'll find those that are just harmonizers. They're just like pontificating harmony, just forgive, just or some that are like Ashtavakra Gita. I would cite one. You've read it, I know. Is the disruptor. It'll just like rip through all our current thinking and it's a fireball. And if you ever are interested, we have an English translation of it also, a brilliant translation at that, the Ramakrishna Mission. To give credit where credit is due. It's a very disruptive, and there are those that are very just harmonizing, just sweet, this, that. This one is a harmonizer and a disruptor together, Gita, because that's how that character was. That avatar, Krishna, was a harmonizer and a disruptor. No, Ram was a harmonizer, right? The same man, this man, came earlier on as Ram. He was a harmonizer, harmonized everything. He included everyone, he accepted everything. He tolerated, he put up with all kinds of, you know what, right? And yet still brought everyone along. He was a harmonizer. And we would wait until the very last moment to disrupt anything, and maybe a slight disruption and step out of it. but then times changed and the society degraded. He had to bring up a little bit of disruption. But you know how like in water it's H2O, like there's 2 of hydrogens and 1 of oxygen. In the Gita or in Krishna's character, you will also see twice harmony than compared to the number of units of destruction. So H2, I sort of in my mind liken it to starting with harmony, then obstructs, and then ends with harmony again. In the Gita also you will see there are some verses that he says, well, they end up in hell. Straight references. 16th chapter, like if this is how you're going to behave, this society, the community is going to send you to hell, and the hell might be within you. You might experience the misery and the anxiety, which could possibly be even worse than going to a physical hell, actually, because you may be living in an air conditioner but really miserable. And so there are pretty disruptive thoughts that obstruct our current way of thinking, like the dogmatic, or just the same old, whatever we've been told. Nobody questions it. We just do it. We just do this. अरे बेटा इधर से नहीं आरती इधर से करते हैं. Okay, whatever. I don't know what this means. Clockwise, anti-clockwise. Why? Nobody knows. Or what happens if you do it other way around? Will hell break loose? I don't know. But ऐसा करते तो ऐसा ही करना है. This one said, no, think. Have you thought about it first? Right? Sit down. Like how often does it say? Then far superior, one verse appears here in the 5th chapter, 4th, 5th, 3rd, all 3 chapters says, far superior than mechanically doing anything is first thinking about it, understanding why you're doing what you're doing and then doing it. Far superior than just doing or knowing is meditating on it, he said, meaning deeply thinking about, immersing in it. And far superior than that, even, Tyagat Shantir Anantaram. It's just letting go of it. Because if you let go, the peace is instant. That's one of the verses. And there are several references like that. But it starts harmonizing. So remember the first chapter, Arjun is very disrupted. And Arjun, Vishad Yoga, the name itself is Vishad. It's like it's the poison within. The literal translation of that is the poison within Arjun. Vishat. The poison of negativity, the anxiety, the fear, all of that. And so he first harmonizes in the 2nd, 3rd chapter, and then in the middle portion there's the disruption. And now we're in the harmony phase again. So as we're wrapping up the 18th chapter, there's some conclusive summaries thrown our way to harmonize as well. So remember that H2O model for the Bhagavad Gita, like harmonize, then disrupt. We don't want to just open our mouth and just be the rebel and just disruptive in a meeting, disruptive in an organization, disruptive in a club. Why? Because that's woke, or what? Disrupting is right or good. Disrupting is good and right first, but don't let go of harmony either. And disruption for the sake of disruption will be useless and damaging and detrimental if in the end we're not able to harmonize it again. Because ultimately you want harmony. So, towards the end then of this chapter, he says that if this is all too much for you, this is the 66th verse in this chapter, Sarva dharman parityajya mam eka sharanam raja aham tvam sarva pape bihu moksha ishyami umashita. Should I do this or should I do that, or then someone says this or someone says that and this and that, and he's just going crazy with if all of this is too much. Sarva dharma, all of that parityaj, as if just let go of even that. You can let go of everything. Mam ekam, I alone, right? Mam is me, ekam is alone, sharanam, align, vraja. Vraja is like come. Like walk. Vraja means walk. वो व्रज भूमि होती है ना, व्रज में जाते थे. व्रज was because they were nomads. And Nanda Baba, they were cowherds and the sheep and all of that. They'd go from village to village after a few days, like homesteads as we call it. And so that process is walking, and hence it was called Vraja Bhumi, the one that where you walk. And so he's Sharanam Vraja, like come, just align with me, because I've set it the way the system, the settings are actually perfect. If you follow, if you align, you will start experiencing the goodness in you, the purity in you, the strength in you, and you'll feel the harmony within you also. And if you have something, you'll be able to give that. You can only give others harmony if you have harmonized your life. If your life is disrupted, in every meeting, wherever we go, chances are you're going to disrupt that also. While driving in traffic, if you don't find a parking spot, there's going to be some disruption caused also if your life is disrupted. So that's where he sort of stops this sermon with a question in the end. See, this is interesting about the Gita. The very first chapter, first verse, started with a question, right? Kim kurvata Sanjaya. Tell me, Sanjay, what are they doing? How are they engaging? When Arjun also asks Krishna a question, when Krishna opens his mouth in the second chapter to start talking about the Gita, this one begins with a question: Kutastva kashmalamidam. This is a scripture that forces us to question constantly, contrary to what you might think or what is led to believe that, oh, well, just accept it. Just because I'm saying it. Just do it. Well, we did do this because our ancestor did this. This is how we've always done in our family, and this is how we always do. This one says, and this is the disruptive nature of it, right? It's just question, constantly. One time I had mentioned that there's about 30 questions, there are about 35 questions in the Gita. 30 to 33 are direct questions, like actually grammatically questions. And then 2 or 3 are like sort of pseudo questions, rhetorical questions, as we might say, right? So 35 is 5% of 700, right? So 700 verses in the Gita total. 5% of it is invested in questioning. I had shared with you one time, Einstein had said, if I had 100 minutes to solve the world, I'd spend 95 minutes on understanding the question. And he'd stop there, suggesting that the remaining 5 minutes will be enough for me to solve the problem, if I understand the question also, the proportion. And so here, Arjun asks Krishna 20 of those 30 questions. He's questioning authority, right? How clearly Krishna is the authority, realizes it also. Even after showing Vishwaroop, he has asked some questions. Arjun has. Krishna also asks Arjun 10 questions. So, questions are okay, questions are chill, questions are good, questions are a must have also. He also ends the Gita with a question. It's an interesting question. It's a very simple question. He says that, well, I've told you everything that there is to tell, there is to share. Essentially, in a succinct way, in a summary way, if you get it, if you grasp it, if you actually understand it, your intuition will be filled with this sort of the knowledge that everything that you need to know to have a good life. Have you paid attention? Tvaya ekagrena manasa. This is like, have you listened to it with attention? Did you get it? Did you pay attention? Is the last question. Have you heard it carefully? Is the question. If so, then yatha ichcha asi tatha kuru. Those are his sort of the last. He's wrapping up. Do as you wish. God of gods is saying, do whatever you want. And so if a father says to a son, like, oh, I told you, do whatever you want, knock yourself out. I think it's only natural that. But more than the son, the father needs to understand that even God had to let go and essentially say, well, what more can I tell you or say or do whatever you want. Yatha is like however, whatever. Ichcha is you want. Asi is tatha, thus, kuru, do. Do as you wish. It's sort of where he said, okay, I'm closing this, today's reflection is over. And then Sanjay is like shocked. Sanjay is the one who was given the television, right? Dur drishti. The word dur is tele, right? The meaning of the word. Drishti is vision. There was a remote given to him. He was asked to look in a particular direction, if you wanted to. So you might have the Vyasa Muni had given, said if you look in this direction, this Murta, you will catch it, you will be able to see it. As if there was a dish to point in a particular direction with the remote given that when you want. This is my interpretation. That's not how it's written in the Mahabharata, like that there was a dish and this, that wasn't. But he was asked to look in a particular direction and with a particular invocation, and that he will get dura drishti, he will get television, he will be able to see the distant far also. So he is in a state of stun and shock. This is where the Gita ends. All of this, that, and he says, oh my God, my hair are still standing. It's like what I saw and how I understand it now, I cannot describe in words. Romanchit. And he says, and then all I'm going to say, king, to his Dhritarashtra, Gita started because the blind king Dhritarashtra asked his charioteer that you have this television, someone gifted it to you, can you tell me what's going on there? And he starts narrating. Now he's concluding in the last verse of the Gita, 700th verse of 700, Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So boss, here's my conclusion. Ki wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, and he's suggesting wherever there is a blessing, wherever there is an empowerer, or wherever there is the powerful, but not just that, but wherever there is someone who's doing purusharth, wherever there is effort, Arjuna, wherever there is someone who will leverage that, who will harness the power, wherever there is someone who will make do with what he or she's got, wherever there is someone who will say, well, I've got something, I can start digging, whatever resources have been given to me, I'm going to use those to the best of my ability. I see infinitude here in the form of Krishna. I see endless resources. There is no end to the power and the glory and the variety and the richness of the opulence and the resources. And in Arjuna, I see such a resourceful person that he's very creative, very resourceful, very talented, very gifted. He was. And it's like, how, you tell me, how can anyone win against them? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha was the name of Arjuna, Dhanurdhara, like someone who's not afraid to pick up his tools and shoot the arrow. Tatra is there, Shri is beauty, goodness, purity, Shri means. Vijay is victory. Vibhuti is the manifestation, the variety, the diversity, the richness. In other words, all goodness. Dhruva this is all set, confirmed, a luminary confirmed, is Dhruva. Nitir Matir Mama. My brain has finally, and I'm convinced that victory will only be there, where there is the powerful and the one who knows how to use that power also. So in a way, commonsensical, there is no dogma around it. It's not illogical. You don't have to be a devotee. You don't have to know the arti or the mantra to make sense out of this. It's a very pragmatic, very practical suggestion, I think. That's where the Gita ends, and he says, the war hasn't even begun yet. He says, I know how the war has ended. Right? I remember one time Obama said, well, Trump has declared himself a winner before even the election has started. For example, I remember him saying it, and I thought about it, and I was able to trace this to Gita, that Sanjay is sort of saying that the war is kind of over, boss. I know it hasn't begun yet, but of course I know how it's going to end up. And that's how it ended also in Mahabharata also in the end. So this completes the context of the 18th chapter. With that, we tied another knot, also the context of the Gita over the last 3 sessions. What remains is the details, which is when we go verse by verse. At some point, maybe 1 or 2 today, maybe not, maybe next time, however. But what's more important, or at least equally important, is like to hear from you about what we just talked about. Again, going through the Gita, going through this chapter, through the dhyan, through the letting go, to let joy, through the logic of the Gita, through the categorization of the caste systems, any of those, whatever thoughts, however you have processed, however you have received, what I'd encourage each of you, not mandatory, you don't have to, but you're very welcome and invited to share response to two questions. What is your takeaway? What is your personal takeaway from this? And then second is what good is it? Is it any useful in your college or high school or work? How can you use it in your daily life? Or is it that this is something 200 years ago, they didn't have wheels, they didn't know how to cook properly, they didn't have whatever gas, they would just cut some wood and all this smoke, like that's obsolete, man, like don't tell me that. Is it that kind? Or, oh no, absolutely, wherever I am, this is very useful, that's right. If so, either way, how so, is what I'm interested in hearing from you, so we get to share with each other as well. So I'm going to stop recording and invite you all. And then if there is time and interest, we can do 1 or 2 shlokas. But otherwise, we can start in 2024 also. Jai Shri Krishna.